Hey guys, welcome to the video Foundation SQL for Data Engineer. As a part of our effort to build the video series for Data Engineer, this is another set of series where we'll have 21 videos of learning SQL. This is the first video. When students hear about the word database for the first time, many of them imagine that it's something mysterious, right? Locked away in giant servers. But I always relate this to a very simple thing, which is used in our day-to-day life, which is Excel. So every one of you must have at some point or the other used Excel sheet, right? So I always relate a database to an Excel. Think of an Excel and you have rows and columns, right? So every Excel has rows and columns. Rows has certain names like name, age, salary, right? And the columns have names like name, age, salary, and rows are where the actual data is present, such as let's say name is Alice, age is 30, and salary is 60,000. Okay, a database works the same way. The difference is that instead of opening a file at a time on your laptop, databases are designed to store millions or billions of rows and keep them organized and allow people or application to use them simultaneously. So always relate a database to an Excel. So, the way you operate the Excel, you should imagine that it's a database just stored away. So from Excel to database, imagine the fact that let's say your college placement cell, right, is managing the data of their students. So there in college you might just have like 1,000 student or 5,000 student, right? So it is very easy to manage on an Excel. But what happens when you join at an organization scale where there are millions of customer or thousands of employees, right? So you wanted to manage the data of that, then Excel won't suffice. So for such cases, you move that data to a database. So same thing can be done on Excel, but on a smaller scale. For a larger scale, we need to move to a database. So this is what database, imagine that this is what database looks like. And a database is a system that stores the data reliably. So it gives a reliability to you, organizes data into multiple tables. It has a better organization than Excel, provides tools to query and analyze the data efficiently. This is most important. On Excel, you just visually do some sort of sorting or just scroll up and down and could see the data. But when it comes to millions and billions of rows, you can't do that, right? You can't scroll down the millions and billions of rows. So that's where the databases come into picture. Now, this data is stored in database. How to query that data, correct? So to query that data, there is something that has come up, which is structured query language. So database is a structured entity. It is always called a structured entity. When we say structured, the structure is defined. You have tables where you have rows and columns and everything well defined, right? So that's where it's called structured entity, and the language which is used to query that is called structured query language. Which I also call it as SQL. So SQL is structured query language, is a language of databases. If the database in the library, then SQL is a librarian for you. You can ask the questions like, can you give me a list of employees in an IT department? Please update Bob's salary to 80,000. Remove record of employee who left last month. Like this, right? So SQL makes these requests possible. You don't need to know the database engine actually, how it is storing the data, how it is querying the data. You just need to know this language called SQL. It abstracts that complexity and gives you a clear English like way to communicate. Why SQL for data engineer? As a future data engineer, you will be one building the pipelines, right? So why we are learning databases and SQL? As a future engineer, you will be building pipeline that move the data from raw sources to structured usable formats. You will need to clean up the data, transform the data, and prepare it for analytics. In this entire process, you would need the understanding of databases and SQL. SQL is data. SQL is to data what mathematics is to engineering. So whenever a student goes and try to learn engineering, we say that, right? Mathematics is the base of it. You should be very good in mathematics, then only you can go to engineering per se, right? So similarly, if you need to get good into data engineering, you must get good into SQL, because that's the foundation of everything to become a data engineer. So these are the data set that we will be using in all our videos, like department, where you have department ID, department name, and location, and you have employees, employee ID, first name, last name, salary, and department ID. I tried to keep it simple. Now imagine that you want to see all employees who belong to IT department, right? In a plain English, you demanded that, but in SQL you would write something like this, right? Select first name, comma, last name, comma, salary from employees. Employees is a table, correct? Where department ID is equal to 3, because your department IT is department ID 3. So if you write this SQL query, you will get the complete list of employees who are into IT department. This one line will fetch you the data from database and represent it to you. See, on the similar lines, there are multiple operations that can be performed on the database, like update, delete, insert. All these things we'll try to learn at different stages. But the most important thing that we learn today is what is the importance of database and what is the importance of SQL. So, as a closing thought, today we just build a bridge between something you know, which is Excel, and something that you will master, which is databases with SQL. Correct? From here on, we will dive deeper into data types, creating tables, actually shaping the data we store. So, always remember that Excel is something you look up to understand the databases. Smaller data set can be managed in Excel, but for larger millions and billions of row, you would have to go to databases. And SQL is the language to query. And SQL is the foundation for becoming a data engineer. So please do subscribe to this channel and try to understand the SQL in more depth. The SQL will build the foundation for your data engineering aspirations and career. Thank you guys. Thanks.